e-com is changing really quickly. The digital footprint is getting out of control. Um, Everyone is everywhere. And platforms are giving us less and less information if they want to. So now you're investing in more and more places, less and less information. Pretty tough. And our task today was to help you navigate some of those changes and think through whether, especially as you're running your business around KPIs, those leading and lagging indicators, whether some of them need to be called antiquated because they are now, and what you can replace them with. So this is hopefully a guide for things you can change in the way you approach your business in the next few months to year. I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Nick Rajpal. I'm coming up on 15 years here at Exclusive. I was brought on to change our business from projects, which we've been doing since 1997, to retainer services. I launched our SEO, Google Ads, conversion testing, email, Amazon services, developed our workflows, did some great hiring, people that are still with us, and built out our strategy team, which was, first concept of how do all these channels work together. And that has been the challenge for 15 years, and really happy to talk a lot about that. I'm also the host of our webinar series, so come to more. We do these every 2 weeks. So very quick summary of Exclusive. We do this kind of channel focus with specializations with SEO, or Google, or social, or marketplace, conversion testing, email, SMS, with Klaviyo, and we organize it all by a strategy team. We built a lot of technology that lets us see marketing in a cross-channel, channel-agnostic way, and it's helped us forge this wonderful framework called the virtuous activity cycle that we're going to talk about a lot today. That is helping e-com businesses shake off the challenge of one channel at a time and kind of bring their entire thing under one house. A lot of wonderful businesses that trust us. We trust them back and we love them. And with that, I switched to Josh. And Josh, before you introduce, let me do something that may or may not work here. I want to see if you can control your own mouse. Yes, you got it.
Yeah, it worked. Great. So thank you, Nick. I'm Josh Mendelson. I head up the SMS part of our product marketing team here at Klaviyo. I've been in the e-commerce space working at MarTech companies for over a decade now, working with tons of businesses of all different sizes to help really help them grow their business using the most appropriate digital tools. And everything from demand gen to product marketing to messaging, all throughout the funnel. It's been really fun and exciting to see how things have evolved. And it's funny going through this deck, and you'll see, things I used to think were super important, not so important today. So that's exciting. So for those of you who don't know Klaviyo, we are what we call a unified customer platform. What that really means is we bring a lot of different things together to help people better measure and deliver customer experiences to their customers. So our platform is powered by over 300 integrations, so all across your e-commerce tech stack, all of that data flowing into a single system. And that sort of results in, gives you fast access that results in real-time segmentation and personalization that drives results. And as part of that, we have a powerful ecosystem of agency and tech partners that we work with really closely. So, I think the reason most people choose to work with Klaviyo is really that unified platform. And at the center of it is, really a database-first approach. So this looks like a lot on the slide, but ultimately the things that matter are, underlying our entire system, we were a database-first company, and then put on top of it this learning layer that really powers a lot of things through segmentation, personalization, data science, AI, that helps people deliver real-time experiences through email, SMS, push on the web, and in social. And ultimately, our goal is to deliver the best D2C tech stack that's available for businesses of all sizes regardless of whether you're on Shopify or Magento or your own homegrown solution, really centralizing everything in one place to help create the best possible experience for your customers.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Can't wait to get into these metrics, and want to start framing how we decided to approach this. So we have a framework here at Exclusive that we're lucky to have to develop, and to have partners like Klaviyo who have embraced the framework and have been excited about helping us kind of further it. And Klaviyo, and I want to say Google Ads as well, specifically, these two teams just truly understand why this is the right way to approach things. So what are we talking about? Well, follow me conceptually for a moment here. Advertising used to be a concept that was just put your brand out there, people will buy. A gentleman named E. St. Elmo Lewis, back in the 1800s, end of 1800s, said, that's not quite right, guys. There's like, advertising has to do all these milestones to get people to buy. And if we can accept that, we have slightly different marketing for each of these milestones. At the beginning of what we call a customer journey, or the AIDA principles, which a lot of you probably are familiar with. Awareness, interest, desire, action. Yeah, since maybe 1980, you start to go to conferences and you hear marketers talk about, opining on this and that. And they'll always say, the marketing funnel is what matters. Marketing funnel, awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, advocacy. As if people find out about you, then they see you in Google shopping for a keyword they typed in, then they buy from you again, then they want to like and share, and then they're out. The funnel is beautiful to look at, but it's not actually like realistic to track or anything like that. Like, it's the experience is rarely linear. You can't actually track people from one channel to another through this funnel. So what are you measuring, or what are you conceptualizing here? And oddly enough, advocacy just begets more awareness. So why is it the bottom, and why is it not a cycle? More importantly, are you supposed to plan everything based on a customer journey, or is that concept, customer journey, flawed? And we've worked with this a lot. And we said, no, first of all, there's definitely a lot of sense in creating marketing that is focused on awareness. That's called marketing. Consideration, which is people who are actively buying in your market. Conversion, which is someone who's been to your website and we're just getting them to buy. Loyalty is past customer, getting them to buy again. And advocacy, asking for likes and shares and reviews. But the planning should be done more from a financial standpoint. Look at these 5 things as if there were 5 different business units, small business units of your business, each that deserves its own investment level, an expected return, and a study of the correlation between one to another. Yes, all these 5 business units, the stronger they get, the more diversified you are, they spin your flywheel. They can also learn a lot in between. So we started to roll this concept out across all of our hundreds of clients, the tail end of last year. And one of the first things we did was just figure out every campaign from every platform, Klaviyo to Google Ads. If a campaign was meant to drive call awareness, tag it as such. In market, consideration. Past visitor, get them to buy, conversion. Past customer, loyalty. Asking for likes and shares and reviews, that's advocacy. We started to round up how much investment per month is going in, what the returns are, what the expected returns are. And what we decided for this webinar is to dive into, when you are trying to further your awareness investment, what are the KPIs? Your consideration, what are those KPIs, etc. What do people use, and what can you use? Now, the only tricky part, and this is something you need to be kind of more intrinsic about, and just get into your own head, try to figure this out for yourself, is between awareness, consideration, which is like search, non-branded search, conversion, loyalty. Which of those is actually meaningful to you, your business, and your customers? And we identify that there's kind of this bifurcation. Some businesses, when their customers finally become aware of the brand name and they can recall the brand name, when that finally happens, when they start searching for your brand name or interacting with your Facebook, they like turn into a totally different type of customer. They're buying at much higher conversion rates. This brand awareness becomes this conversion booster. Then your efficiency drivers become awareness and conversion. Like your investments there are the ones driving your business, your efficiency. And then consideration like Google Shopping only pads you a little bit for growth or loyalty or advocacy. If your business is much more transactional, like, yeah, it's nice if someone knows our brand, it kind of like brings them over the edge to buy the product that they were looking for, but it's pretty transactional. We show up in Google Shopping for a categorical phrase, show some ads or some email or SMS to get them to convert. That's it. A little bit of benefit from awareness, loyalty, and advocacy. It's a search-based journey. And before we proceed, I want to do a quick poll. What do you think your customer goes through? Are they going through getting to know your brand in a way where once they know your brand, man, they start acting totally different? They almost always search for your brand before they click on an ad and buy. They're jumping from Facebook ads into your website to buy. Return visitors convert so much higher than new visitors who don't know you. That's the first option, where brand awareness is a conversion boost. We'll give everyone just a few more moments. 50% of you have voted. Okay, close out in 3, 2, 1. Actually quite shocked by this. So 78% of you are basically saying, I believe I'm a brand-based journey. Awareness means a lot to my business. And 22% of you saying, no, I'm like this business that as long as I dominate Google Shopping, I'm good. Yeah, Facebook and all that's just frivolous. Pretty impressive to see that. This is the most out of any webinar I've done, the highest percentage that is brand-based journey, which is really exciting to see. Those people who are invested in their email, they can see that their brand only makes their customers stronger and more potent. So with that, we're going to start breaking down 5 KPIs on awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy to kick us off. Pass to Josh.
Great. So the structure we've put together for this is for each of these sections to sort of look at a vanity metric and a metric that matters, right? Vanity metrics are super fun. They can make you feel really good about yourself and the work that you and your team are doing. But I think what we've found is they don't always actually matter to the business, right? So the first one that we're going to talk about is new website visitors. Now, I think every single person on this call would agree, new website visitors matters. You know, if you're not bringing in traffic, you're missing out on a big opportunity, right? All of us have spent endless hours in Google Analytics or the drug that is real-time Google Analytics, where you can see who's on your site at any given time, especially after you post something you're super proud of or send an email blast, you're like, oh my God, there's so many people coming in, right? It's fun, it's exciting. It also doesn't, at the end of the day, matter that much because it's not a measure of visitor quality, it's only a measure of visitor quantity, right? So if you're spending lots of money or you're getting tons of engagement or something really pops and you're getting organic traffic to your site, that traffic might sound great and be something you're excited to report out on, but ultimately it might not be potential buyers for your products. Nick, can you pop ahead? It's not working for me now. So the metric that really matters, that you should really be thinking about, is your form completion rate. Because forms on your website are the pathway to building a highly engaged audience in what we call sort of owned marketing, right? So people who are on your list that you're not spending additional money to acquire, right? So form completion rate is a great proxy for visitor quality and consistency of messaging across your entire funnel, right? So when someone comes to your site, are they getting what they expected? Is it compelling enough for them to get on your email list, to get on your SMS list, and ultimately move them down towards the path to purchase, right? It's actually kind of funny, like the industry standard for something like this is say 2%. And 2% is like really crappy. Like imagine if you were working in a retail store and 100 people came in and 98 of them disappeared off the face of the earth by the end of the day. So I think we can all do better, but the important part here is making sure that you have a consistent message that's compelling to your audience and gives them a reason to opt in for future communications, right? You're starting to build that relationship based on your brand, based on what you offer, and pushing them down the line. So I would say form completion rate, website conversion, far more important than your new website visitor total.
So very much agree. Awareness is also fairly challenging when it comes to the purse strings. If you start asking questions like, what is my awareness return on ad spend? You may not be happy with that number. And this is it's a quagmire of attribution challenges. You can start switching to first click if you want to and give yourself some credit. But obviously, people who know their awareness know that you're looking at, views and impressions and click-through rates and how many video views you get. But there's no metric right now that feels right when it comes to awareness. Return on ad spend seems disingenuous, and these other metrics are great leading indicators, but they're so leading, you don't know where to go with it. Luckily, there's a whole different science of data measurement that can now solve this question of how much does my awareness investment impact my revenue? And really excited about this. It's a concept that's been around now for 40, 45 years. Major consulting businesses have been able to perfect this on very, very large scale. It's called media mix modeling or mixed media modeling, whichever one you choose. And media mix modeling is trying to solve this question of if you break down all your investments and then you have a final output, by studying kind of on a day-to-day basis how much investment goes in and how it changes the output, the revenue, you can figure out which inputs have the biggest coefficient impact on the output. In other words, what investments drive revenue? And it's taken us about 5 years to get this right. Really excited this works now for every one of our clients pretty much. We get this opportunity to go and in virtually real time, go to a media mix model report for any of our clients. And it starts to tell us a lot about the past and the future. It says, well, here's your revenue for the last 12 months based on everything we know right now, your current trajectory. You should plan for this revenue for the next 12 months. Just like that, it's already planned it out. Here's your marketing efficiency ratio for the last 12 months. Based on current trajectory, it's going to be pretty great next year. But the juicy part is that inputs can be broken down now by channel or by here's all my awareness, consideration, conversion, investment. What I've showed here is by channel. Media mix model will tell me which channels create the biggest impact on my revenue. Well, studied your data, and paid social helps. Paid search helps 7.35 times more than paid social, and your product ad investment helps 12.4 times more than paid social. guess what? If you're tracking our conversation thus far, this is a search-based journey. Social doesn't really help that much. Great, thank you for telling me that. Let's try a new model where in the next 12 months, I increase product ads by 200% and decrease social by 50%. The same approach is now being applied to all the investments that are sequestered as awareness versus consideration, conversion, and loyalty. We want to find fundamentally awareness that never gets credit. How much of a coefficient of impact does it have on your revenue? We can fuel new models and new scenarios and start to plan out how much investment should be put into awareness every month for the next 12 months. The technology has been built. It's very exciting. We finally get over that huge bridge of I just don't believe in awareness. I can quickly introduce consideration if you want, Josh. Consideration, once again, folks, it's not cold audience targeting anymore. This is when people are searching in your space. They haven't found you yet, but they're clearly searching in your space. They're searching categorical phrases, maybe even some of their competitor names, and you just want to at bat with them.
All right, so let's talk about our next vanity metric, which is list size. So obviously, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and we talked about converting people when they come to your site and really growing your email list and your SMS list. It's obviously incredibly important, right? A large subscriber list allows you to re-engage people without spending additional money to do so. What it doesn't do is tell you if you're getting value out of that list, right? So really, you know, and we've all talked about list size. Like I have bullet points on my resume about like growing a list to X many thousands of of subscribers and managing. I'm sure many of you have like managed, you know, newsletters or promotions or campaigns to these huge lists, and it looks great on paper. But at the end of the day, it doesn't tell you enough about like, are those the right people, right? They may think they're the right people. That's why they've signed up, or maybe they wanted a discount to get on your list. But over time, is this the right audience? Is this the right set of people for your business? So what we really think about when we think about a metric that matters is customers' lifetime value, right? This is about like, of those people who get onto your list, what are they buying from you right away? What are they buying from you over time? And what is the length of time that they're actually a customer of yours, right? Like, I think, you know, most people in marketing and e-commerce aren't really great about cleaning their lists or about scrubbing their lists over time. You know, if someone's on it, they're going to wait till someone unsubscribes for them to be removed from the list. So what's really important is within that audience, within your email and SMS subscribers, is to create high value segments based on purchase behavior, even based on browsing behavior, and then understanding the amount of revenue that's coming from each of those segments. That's how you know if you're attracting the right people and engaging them most effectively, right? That'll help you focus your efforts going forward on attracting more people that look like your best customers, right? Once you know who those high value customers are, then you can start creating lookalike audiences. You can start, you know, understanding what their patterns are and trying to replicate that in the market. So it really unlocks the ability to target and strengthen relationships with the people on your list that really matter to your business, not just looking at like, hey, we've got 100,000 people, we must be doing great. It's like, no, how do we get more of those top 100 or that look like those top 100 who are really driving revenue for the business?
Awesome. And folks, there's been a few people asking if we're recording. We sure are recording this. Everyone will get a copy of the recording and a PDF within 48 hours of this being completed. And if anyone is having any issues, Emily, you mentioned that you were having some issues with playback. Please let us know if that was resolved. Okay, in consideration, once again, consideration is trying to rank for non-branded search or paying for non-branded search, people who are showing a great intent that they want to buy, and you just got to get in front of them. SEO, right? People love SEO for that type of visibility, especially for the really big keywords. But I think anyone can say ranking keywords just feels like it's the wrong metric. It seems like it doesn't serve a purpose. Maybe revenue would be better. But then you go through times like now where, conversion rates, and the way people are shopping, people aren't converting as high in every industry. So you've got to look at a slightly different SEO KPI. But we found one that works really well. And what it does is it tells you how well you're doing, taking the credit you have from Google and converting it into page one rankings. It's something that we've been kind of teaching since about 2015, when we first saw this beautiful Goldilocks number happening amongst our clients. It's called the relevance differential. It's because relevance or content and communicating to Google the right way is what drives this number. It's not about your technical, it's not your core vitals, it's not your crawl authority, your backlinks, or your brand awareness. It is purely driven by whether your content hits the mark with Google. And the number is, of all the keywords you rank for, check out your SEMrush anytime. How many keywords do I rank for on the top 10 pages? Let's say that number is 10,000. 2,500 of those should be on page one. 25% of your keywords should be on page one. So what do you do to get there? It's actually, there's a whole formula for it. That you want to have about 15 closely related keywords chosen for the keywords that you're trying to choose to rank for the page. You take the most competitive keywords, put them in the title and the H, and the rest in the body. You use 300 to 400 words of content on the page at least to make sure that there's depth. Then you make sure the content was unique, that it is perfectly written because of Panda, and that it's not over-optimized. It's a few steps, 5 to 7 steps based on what business you're running, that can ensure that each one of your top navigation pages at least has 25% of its keywords on page one. We've done complete webinars on this. Got another one coming up in a few weeks that is just based on driving relevance differential. Now, conversion is anyone who's been to the website before or engaged heavily with like social or email. They haven't made a purchase yet, but we're trying to make sure this new marketing machine that we have for new sales is effectively getting people to matriculate across that line.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. So our next metric in this conversion category that we're going to talk about, and I love this section because it's got dogs in it, and I'm a dog lover. Sorry, I got distracted myself by the cute corgi. So gross channel revenue is an interesting one, right? Like, I think for anyone who's using a wide array of marketing tools, it's really easy to say this channel is driving X amount of revenue, right? We all do that. It's the easiest way to report on things, especially if you're not ready to do like a real market mix model. It's sort of like 101 level attribution and revenue reporting. The challenge with that is that, especially if you're using multiple platforms, everyone wants to take credit for a sale. And we see this all the time at Klaviyo, where if someone's using, say, a different SMS platform, and they have their Shopify store, their BigCommerce store, whatever it happens to be, and then they've got their Google Analytics tracking, and it's very easy to say, like, this is driving X dollars in revenue and Y number of orders, email is driving this amount, whatever else, like direct ad spend is driving this amount. And then you total all of that up, and it's like 3 times the amount of what you actually see for sales in your store. This is a very, very common thing in e-commerce, and one that is very awkward to try to explain to the board or to the president of your company on why you're saying all these things are doing great, and yet those numbers total up to a much higher number. So, Nick touched on this earlier, but really it's about understanding multi-channel attribution, right? And making some choices about how you're going to count things for your business. So from a Klaviyo perspective, we use a last touch attribution model. That way, we are able to say whether an email or a text message or a push notification is the one that actually closed the sale, right? It's sort of like a 201 way of looking at attribution. Because what happens is very often if things are coming out of different systems, you may receive a text message 1 week ago and an email 3 days ago. That text message provider is going to take credit for that sale because it's within their attribution window, and they have no idea that an email was sent and clicked on and purchased, right? So what we do is we combine all of that into a single system. That way we're able to understand the interplay of the different marketing channels and put the right credit in the right place. This allows you to really understand where you should be investing your time, where you should be investing your dollars, but doing that in a holistic way. And that's, when we talked earlier about like that database layer within Klaviyo with hundreds of integrations, lots of data flowing in. One of the real advantages to that is it allows you to better understand what's driving a sale, what's impacting a sale, and then how you should invest resources going forward. Now, I think market mix modeling is very advertising centric, and it does a great job. I think the holy grail is understanding all of the touches that lead to a purchase at the end of the day and investing in each of those appropriately along the line. But again, just looking at that gross channel revenue, you're going to say my list growth tool is giving me X, my SMS is giving me Y, my email is giving me Z. I'm running out of letters here, and it's all going to be higher than what you're actually getting out of your store. So multi-channel attribution, definitely the way to go for a metric that matters.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I first of all, second on these dog picks. I mean, every presentation should be like this. My sweet boy has been sick for a week, so he's starting to get better. He's my muse when I paint. Here's my painting of my little Cocker Spaniel riding a Great Dane.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we just this levity of dogs is fantastic. By the way, other thing I agree on is channel attribution and channel ROAS. It's a bit of a farce, right? We know this. Every channel has defined what their calculation for attribution is, but it's not even, you can't compare one channel to another, which you want to. You want it to be a simple accounting practice, and everyone's like, show me your ROAS for each channel and let's just see who's doing better. It doesn't work because it's not built that way. We've decided to move past it and help get to the next point in evolution in this type of KPIs, especially when it comes to things like conversion activities, because conversion activities like to take credit for everything, right? It doesn't matter what you've done, the conversion activities like to take that credit. So let's not try to give credit. Let's just try to figure out if it's all working together. Marketing efficiency ratio is all my costs for marketing compared to all my revenue. Keep that number in line. That's it. It's quite simple. But I want to break down exactly why you kind of have to do this. And start off with how in-platform actually works. So like in Google Ads, in-platform reporting is basically taking the full value of every sale that Google Ads has helped with, even though if Google Ads is one of 5 things that helped with it, it's still going to look at it as if I did all the work. And then there are these flawed attribution models like last click will give 100% of credit only to the last ad, and the first ad will look like it didn't do anything. So you go like position based or DDA to try to get more basic allocation for all the things that contributed. It's still not going to work so that you can compare ROAS from one channel to another. And it's not just that these channels want to over-report, which would happen in this case. As Josh said, you add them all up and it looks like 3 times. In some cases, they also under-report. There's these like tracking issues. iOS 14. Not only does it not actually track everyone, but to stay compliant, they couldn't show a 28-day window anymore of we helped influence this sale. Awareness finally got the sale 27 days later. Now it had to be in 7 days to be compliant. So you're not even going to see these sales that were influenced by these other channels. On top of that, awareness can be a really broken journey. Like if you do amazing meta advertising to get people to sign up to Klaviyo, and then Klaviyo over a 10-point track gets them to buy, Klaviyo gets the credit. Meta is what you should continue to invest in, and Klaviyo, but you can't even see that anymore. Or if you inspire people to learn about the brand, they hate buying through the Meta app, they go to Google or Amazon and buy there. And most important, owned media keeps getting kind of like mixed in with paid media on the way to purchase. And owned media doesn't have an ad spend level to it, so you can't even do this ROAS calculation. It's like everything gets thrown off. Marketing efficiency ratio is so simple. It doesn't rely on channel attribution, all that owned media support. It gives it some value. It's easy to compare this number against your average margin to stay financially astute. So it's a simpler way. It almost feels too dumb and simple, and yet it is actually the evolution. We're going to talk about loyalty now. Loyalty is, you know who your past customers are, you got the customer list, targeting them. What do you want to measure?
Right. So yeah. So one of the gateways to loyalty is really understanding the effectiveness of your customer support. Right. So someone's decided to make a purchase with you. Maybe they have a problem. They have a question. How effectively are you able to engage them, solve their problems, and actually have them come out the other end, right, as a happier, more engaged customer? So one of the vanity, it's funny, my wife runs customer success for another company, and this is very near and dear to her heart. People ask her, how many tickets have you answered? How many tickets can you answer? And her head wants to explode, because tickets answered is not, it's not a good way of looking at the effectiveness of a customer support program, or even the efficiency of a customer support program. In fact, a high number of tickets resolved may mean that your support team is being inundated with questions that could be solved by improving the product or customer experience, improving help docs, improving FAQs. Like, the high number of tickets being solved is great, but there's probably ways that things could be done more effectively and more efficiently. So the better way to look at it is really around time to resolution, right? Because ultimately what consumers want is a fast resolution to their challenge, whether that's a big challenge or a little challenge. And I think that's another thing that's sort of lost in looking at that vanity metric of number of tickets answered is, are these big issues or are they small issues, right? So what you want to do is get to people quickly and effectively and give them the answers that they need. So one of the things, one of our integration partners is a company called Zendesk that you've probably heard of. And they recently did a study looking at the time to respond or the time to resolution by different channels. And what they actually found was that SMS has now become their most efficient channel for customer support interactions. And the reason that is, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that is, but one of the really frustrating experiences that's popped up in the last few years is that sort of chat support experience, especially for an e-commerce store, right? A lot of e-commerce stores can't staff that very effectively. they're either over or understaffed, and then they get you into a chat widget, which if you're on the go is really hard, right? It's a really difficult experience to maintain a chat on your mobile device where you may have made a purchase or sent an email to follow up or submitted a support ticket. It's not a great experience to have that sort of chat interaction where you can easily lose track of it. And what they've found is that texting is actually a much more efficient way to do it because it's efficient for their reps to be able to see all of the robust customer data that might flow in. Say, like in Zendesk's case, for example, we're passing a lot of data back and forth from Klaviyo to Zendesk, so they can see the path to purchase. They can see other products that have been bought. They can understand where the person originally came from, like that whole history. And then they can respond by text. So I don't know about you, but I can look up every 5 minutes and get a text and respond to it in a way that I just can't do with chat. But it still has that immediacy that you don't get with email, where you might be sitting there waiting hours and hours and hours for a response and sort of, feel that boiling intensity rising as you're waiting to resolve something. So time to resolution, really, really important. And I want to just, while we're on the topic of support tickets, another really powerful thing you can do with sort of these all-in-one solutions like a Klaviyo with that big database is you can use the fact that someone has an open ticket and not send them a promotional, like your next sale or something inappropriate to their current status. You can easily say, oh, Nick has an open ticket. I'm not going to send him something asking him to buy something else because he might not be in the best state of mind right now, right? So I think it gets back to storing all of that data in one place, being able to use the channels that are going to be most effective to get people to a happy place as fast as possible.
So that'd be really effective in when not to ask for a review as well.
Yeah, same thing with reviews. Absolutely. Reviews is another big one where it's like, you really want to know if someone has an outstanding issue before you ask them to say something nice about you.
Yeah, or review this product that is still not arrived. Wonderful.
Exactly.
So, well, one thing that we want to talk about is everyone wants to measure their customer lifetime value, and luckily, technologies are starting to populate some number in it that is like crunching through their data. But actual customer lifetime value calculations, they require an understanding of net present value. You're supposed to know your full lifetime value of a customer, which means like over a 5-year period of time, or customer lifetime value per year multiplied by the number of years you expect them to still be a customer without any decay of behavior. They're flawed. They take a long time to calculate. You kind of need a finance degree. That's why people don't calculate their customer lifetime value often. And you really want to. Like you as a marketer, you just want that number. We thought about this and tried a few different things, and what we found is what we want to recommend today, which is work on like a 90, 60, 30 day customer lifetime value. 90 is a great number though. 90 is everyone who came in June. I want to know, well, on day 1, how much did they on average buy from us? By day 30, what were they at? By day 60, by 90, what are they at now? This allows you to figure out whether recent changes in your SMS, your email, your marketing ads are actually making some impact in getting people to their second purchase faster and with a higher probability of success. If you're a client of Exclusive, in our normal business insights reporting stack, you get this, which is fantastic. We have these wonderful metrics now where you get to see how your customer lifetime value is increasing. You get a cohort snapshot every 6 months or so. And in each cohort, it says cohort of October 2020, basket value on day 0 is this. By day 30, that group is here. By day 60, they're here. By day 90, this is how much they've spent. And then you just keep getting a new cohort every few months. And with all this data, you also get a chance to go way back to what Josh was talking about, which is understanding your customer lifetime value for awareness targeting and for consideration goals. Here, when you finally know your actual customer lifetime value, plug in your margin, this thing will spit out what your cost per acquisition should be. You can go back and see whether your, well, we classically call top of funnel activities are actually worth it from a numbers perspective. Finally, we're going to talk about advocacy. People don't talk about likes and shares and reviews. It's hard to track. It's been hard to track for us as well. We're still exploring. We're looking for more partners to get us access to this data faster. But likes, shares, and reviews are something you can ask for. You can measure how well you're doing, and they spin the flywheel of your business.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. So number of social followers is our vanity metric for this section. And about 12 years ago, I helped launch a social media product, and I would have bet my life that number of social followers was the most important thing. And it was important at the time. But I think what we've found is that a large following on social media does not necessarily translate into tangible results like sales, customer loyalty, et cetera. And I think it can be a good measure of brand engagement and brand efficacy, in the sense that people want to be connected to your brand. They want to see your content. They want to engage with you in that way. But as everyone here knows, over the past few years, your ability to reach the people who are even your own social followers has continuously declined, right? So having, 100,000 Facebook likes, doesn't mean you're getting in front of 100,000 people every time you post. It's a tiny fraction of those people, right? Those platforms, the social platforms have really almost made it a requirement to boost your posts with dollars to even reach your own followers, right? And that continues to be a trend, and I don't think that trend is going away. So there's nothing wrong with having a large number of social followers. It's obviously, there's value in it, and it says something about your brand. But I think the number that matters a lot more is how many VIP shoppers do you have, right? How many people are asking to get early access to things? So we recommend in a lot of cases at Klaviyo using your SMS channel as the best way to engage your VIP shoppers, right? They want those exclusive early access to offers, right? They want to be able to get exclusive content that's just for that channel, and they want it immediately, right? So all of those things are screaming text messages. And what we've found is having a large list or a growing list of VIP shoppers, so high value customers who are making frequent purchases and providing valuable feedback and referrals. That's sort of how we define VIP shoppers. That's a much better indication of how your brand is doing and how your products are being received than simply a large number of social followers. Now, your social media manager, still going to love those follower numbers, but ultimately for the business, your VIP shoppers is a number that matters more.
Wonderful. Folks, we just got 2 more questions. Will the presentation be shared after the fact? From Kylie from Swim 2000, is there a replay of this webinar we can watch again? Yes, within 48 hours, you get a video replay plus a PDF copy. We're going to wrap this up with number 10. Total reviews, obviously important. A lot of businesses just can't believe how many reviews they have, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. Unfortunately, this number it could be something that has stagnated. It could be something that is kind of falling. And it's just reviews. It's not likes and shares. There's other ways for people to advocate for you that you might be missing if you're only looking at reviews. So our KPI recommendation is that you're basically looking more at, like, with each new batch of customers, how are we getting customers to advocate? Number of advocacies per customer. And you want this to kind of be in like short pulses. So you're actually keeping on top of trends and changes. But a wonderful book called Lean Startup that talks about viral engines. It's basically like when a customer really likes your product and talks about it, they can get you 1.1 new customers or more. So every customer gets more customers for you. It's a viral engine. You want to fuel that. If your business has a viral engine component to it, you don't want to miss out on this. A few minutes left. I want to do two quick polls. One is from exclusive side. We like to figure out whether we can be good partners for anyone who's here. And we do this through this pretty extensive process. You first get in touch with us through this poll, and we reach out, try to understand whether your business kind of seems like it's a fit. Then you meet with myself or my colleague Liam, and we learn more about your customers, your journey, brand-based versus search-based, who your competitors are, your challenges, your marketing mix. And we come back with an entire plan on here's search-based versus brand, homework from competitors to validate it, what your allocation should be between awareness, consideration, etc. What channels make sense for you? What segmentation might work really well for you? What kind of technology could you rely on? We give you proposal, pricing, everything. We don't charge for any of this, but this is how we establish new partnerships. And just want to throw that out there. Is anyone interested in receiving this as a next step? We call it a growth plan because we're really just trying to figure out the ideal plan for you. And not to be confusing, we put a maybe, but you want some more information, a maybe, but timing is not perfect as well. And as soon as this is no longer changing as fast as it is, people are clearly still voting, I will close this out. And let's give another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, folks. Of those of you that voted, 69% of you asked for us to reach out. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. And then the last thing is kind of just a joint ask from both Klaviyo and Exclusive. Is there any way that we can help kind of points between the two of us? So for example, are you on Klaviyo, but you feel like you could use more strategy or strategic coordination between your other channels and Klaviyo? That'd be the option number one. Option number two, cannot believe all the amazing things Klaviyo is able to do. Why am I still on one of these old platforms? Time to switch me off. That's option number two. And number three is, yeah, I want to switch to something better, but I also want people who can fly that plane. So I want to consider moving to Klaviyo and Exclusive. So with that, Josh, can you see the questions? Are there any? Do we have any questions here yet?
No, I think we're good. I think we solved everyone's problems, Nick.
Yeah, everyone just wanted copies of the presentation so far. Folks, we're here. He's gonna ask us questions. We're if you don't want us to put you on the spot, we won't. But anything about these KPIs or even other KPIs where you've been kind of thinking about, you're not sure whether there's an opinion on evolving away from them. Happy to take any question. How are you able to track users across platforms, especially with privacy laws? Oh, first of all, Alexis said, I missed what KPI stands for. It's a key performance indicator. It's a metric. Metric. I should stop saying KPI. Metric is actually faster. How are you able to track users across platforms, especially with privacy laws? This is one of the problems. This is why mixed media modeling is so impactful. Because if you can't trust the platform's own data, you can't track people across this ever-expanding footprint of their journey. You need a different way to reconcile which investments yield the best results, broken down by channel or in these pockets of awareness, consideration, conversion, all solved by media mix modeling. What are the best KPIs to measure the success of a website redesign? Nice question.
I mean,
Yeah,
I can
Roger,
jump in
please
on that.
touch. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. There's some that are sort of defensive and some that are offensive, right? So I think when you're redesigning a website, first you want to make sure you've done no harm, right? Like think of it like a doctor. So make sure that you may see sort of a short-term dip in things like SEO or conversion just based on things being re-indexed and all of that. But I think over time you want to make sure that you're at least reaching the baseline that you had before. And then ultimately, I think website conversion is the metric that you want to focus on in terms of evaluating the success of a refresh of your site. So that means people are getting to your site on a message that's aligned with the messaging on your website and are interested enough to convert, right? It's a good way to check quality of traffic, and also is your message compelling enough to get even like a low level conversion like an email list sign up. So those are the two things that I sort of look at whenever I'm involved in a rebrand.
Yeah, I would add, I agree with all that. And then for conversion, there's always some other conversion types, form fills, phone calls, making sure you track those as well, not just the conversion side. Um,
Yeah.
it's worth running like a core vitals test or a page speed and mobile friendliness test as well. Those are
Yes.
KPIs that can be measured and you can see the drop. And the third thing is looking for a ranking cliff. So far too often when there's a redesign or especially a replatforming, you don't notice for a few months that your ranking has dropped, but no one ever resurfaced them. If you use a tool like SEMrush, go into SEMrush, go to the backlink section. In backlink section, go to indexed pages, and then check off broken pages. This will help you find 404 errors that you can't find through any other crawl test of pages that no longer exist on your page, on your website, but there's still backlinks from outside pointing into your website. Those are missed all the time, and those are often the cause of 30, 40% drops in ranking. Josh, do you see this question? I think this is more related to email. Older clientele typically don't fill out forms or subscribe. How do we know which ones are of real value?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, the data that I've seen would argue that that's a bit of an urban myth. In fact, we see that boomers in particular are pretty willing to opt in if you give them a good reason to do so. So I think it's not completely untrue, but it's a little overstated that older audiences won't subscribe. I think that was true maybe 10 years ago. I think it's less true now as people get more comfortable, more and more comfortable with online shopping. But I think you can still look at, if you've got that robust customer database and you've got all of the information about their shopping behavior, even outside of engagement with email or SMS, you can still start to build segments based on their buying patterns and how they got to your site, right? So it doesn't have to be just about getting on your list. You can segment your customers even if you don't have consent to market to them through your email and your SMS list. So that's how I would think about it, is like see what patterns you can create there, and then to the extent that you can create audiences off of that, you can use that for targeting going forward. I think it starts with having all of that information in like a really powerful database that you can then identify like who are the best customers within that base.
Awesome. And there's another question. If you're using Shopify in-store, can you track Klaviyo's impact on those purchases in-store if you're using a Shopify POS? You know?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this, I will say, but you should be able, if you're passing that information in and there's identifiable information, so an email or a phone number that already exists within your database, you should be able to tie those two things together. But I will say I haven't done that myself, so I'm not the best person to ask, but I believe we have some help docs on how to do that.
Amazing. Folks, thanks for staying a couple minutes extra. I appreciate all the questions. Josh, thank you so much for this great content and for your partnership and for embracing this new wave of concepts that fall under the marketing efficiency ratio and virtuous activity cycle philosophy. Thank you, folks, for taking time. And we've got another webinar coming up in 2 weeks. Please join. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Happy
Thanks,
Wednesday.
everyone. See ya.